Hey, welcome back, Mama Bears, for Theology Thursday. So this is our time being together for 5 days of tips and tricks on how to have quality quarantine time with your kids.
It's like the longest tagline ever.
I know, it's the longest title ever. Again, it's still work. Maybe next week we'll have something cooler. But so today is Theology Thursday. So we're going to talk about just all things, basically the Bible and discipleship. So we really specifically want to talk about discipleship that's going to be going on in your homes. We have all been kind of compartmentalized. It's like a lot of times that the family life used to be so much more together time, and we've actually gotten used to that not being the case. We have kids that have youth group or Sunday school while the parents go to big church or all sorts of things. Or we're sitting in the bleachers, watching our kids in some kind of sport. It's still not something we're doing together. So with all the benefits of having this together time, we also have some of the detriments of that together time, which is we are fallen human beings. We are sinful human beings who want our way. And when we're in this close proximity with each other, sometimes what I want and what someone else wants starts to kind of butt heads. And this is a prime opportunity for us to be discipling our kids on how to be more like Christ. But to figure out kind of like where we've gotten, let's go back to like, where did we come from and how are we actually returning maybe to a model that has been lost a little bit? So Amy, I know you read something that Nancy Pearcey had written on the subject.
Yeah, Nancy Pearcey had done an interesting survey on how the family used to be. And when you look back in Genesis, it was, man and woman, and it would have been, their kids working together. And you see that kind of progress through time. You would think of, if you've read Little House on the Prairie, the kids didn't go to school during harvest time because they were helping mom and dad. It would be mom and dad together, sometimes planting and working in the fields with the kids helping out too. So the family was together. And then we had sort of the Industrial Revolution come along, and dad now starts working outside of the home instead of just with farming and that sort. And then we got 50s and 60s coming along, and now mom is outside of the home, and you've got both parents outside. The kids are doing their thing. And now you throw in social media nowadays, and our kids are, they've got this, right? The whole time just in front of them, to where it's this concept of being alone together. So now we have this illness come through, and now all of a sudden the basketball is canceled, school is canceled. Sometimes for some of you, work is canceled, to where now you have all of your people together in home, and we're sort of thrown back into how it was supposed to be, but we're so out of sync with that we don't quite know what to do. And we're coming to realize that we've got this awesome opportunity to now be the primary influence in our kids' life. It's not the teachers, it's not the coaches, it's not social media that's really the primary, is we get to be in that. So how can we use these opportunities to shepherd our kiddos, to be those adults that we want them to be, that we want to be ourselves, really. So it's just taking advantage of those opportunities to maybe focus on some of their strengths. Maybe by now you're noticing some of their weaknesses, and how can we maybe correct that? Maybe some respectfulness that needs to go in there, that sort of thing. So it's just taking advantage of these moments to really disciple our kiddos and pour into them, because this is a very unique opportunity that you hope it doesn't come again. But again, trying to look at the bright side of things, is this is a great opportunity to influence our kids for good.
Yeah, I like what you said about being the primary influence now on your kids. They don't have the coaches, they don't have the youth group leaders, they don't have anything. It is you and the kids, and sometimes that's hard. Yeah. And but we don't want to. We don't want to move away from something just because it's hard. When something's hard, that's just kind of an opportunity to overcome it. Much like the wise sage wisdom of Tom Hanks in League of Their Own. What does he say?
Yeah, it's a great scene. It's where he's talking to one of the ball players who she's fussing about how she didn't realize it was going to be so hard. And you think this is a women's league during World War II. There's no one had ever really seen that before. And so he kind of gives her this look like, "Are you serious?" And he goes, "Hard." He was like, "It's supposed to be hard. If it wasn't hard, then everyone could do it. The hard is what makes it great." And our society so much now is they want to move away from anything that's difficult. Kids, we need to not keep score. We got to make sure everybody gets a trophy. Everybody's a winner, because we don't want them to experience any adversity. But in exchange, they've lost the ability to deal with that adversity and to persevere through that I'm mixing up my words, adversity. There we go. And so it's really
adversity.
Yeah, that's a mouthful. So yeah, it's using this time to, if it's hard, just keep going and keep working with your kids, because it's totally worth it. That's what refines us. That's what gets those lumps of rough cut gems into beautiful gemstones, and that the metals and things into those beautiful metals. It's just refined by fire. Iron sharpens iron. Mm-hmm. So that hardness, we need to help our kids realize that sometimes adversity is a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And also in terms of what we talked about for the previous week about the emotions on Monday, Movie Monday, and then fear with Worldview Wednesday with Scaredy Squirrels. Yes. And so Elizabeth, you found a great passage that would be a really great activity for the kids to not only recognize those emotions, but then how do we respond in this situation when we're having these emotions, which is from Philippians 4:6-9.
Yeah, so I'll read that passage and then we'll just unpack it a little bit about how we can go through it with our kids and talk to them, about what our response should be. So this passage in Philippians, Paul writes, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, think about these things. What you have learned and received and heard and seen in me, practice these things, and the God of peace will be with you." And this is just a great passage that we can go through with our kids, especially in this time when our culture is really just spiraling into panic over the unknown. And in this passage, just a couple things to look at is a lot of times when we focus on this passage, we just say, we're not to be anxious, we're not to be anxious, we're not to be anxious. Yes, but we forget of what we're called to do, that we're called to go to God with our fear, and not only to go to him with supplication, with asking, but also to thanksgiving. And in 1 Thessalonians 5, we're told to give thanks in every circumstance. So just practice, even being thankful for this quarantine, even being thankful for the ways that we sometimes fear, because it shows us our reliance on God. So just practicing gratitude with our kids. And then verse 8, which is the follow-up, that once we do that, then we need to focus on the things that are true, that are honorable, that are just, that are right, that are pure, that are lovely. And so a great thing that we can do with our kids is actually to, I know, Amy, you have, I think, like a praise board in your house, right behind you. So whether it's we make an actual board or we have a place on the fridge where our kids could just be putting sticky notes for things that are true and are noble and are right, or things that they can give gratitude for. So whether you want to do that at one time, or you could even each day have them add a new sticky note, just so you're constantly thinking about these things.
Yeah. I even like the idea because, honestly, I spent an extended time in California, so tattoos were always like, ooh, I could get a tattoo for this and this, and I never did. Well, I've got a little one for my cancer on my ankle, but I always thought if I was going to get another tattoo, I'd want that list of words, like whatever is true, whatever is noble, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy. Because I think that our emotions a lot of times follow our thoughts, and sometimes
absolutely.
To get control of our emotions, we need to purposely choose what we are thinking on. So if you have kids, maybe make this big, with each of those words and put it on the wall. And if there's something either they're complaining about or something that they're afraid of, then we can go back to these words that this is what we're supposed to meditate on. It's fine to express our fears. It's fine to express our frustrations. But now let's go through and think of what is something that's true, what is something that's noble, what is something that's excellent, and something that's praiseworthy, just, all the whole list of things there. Of course, I want the tattoo because I can never remember the whole list. And just have them purposely be thinking about this. This kind of helps take them out of whatever thought pattern that is coming naturally to them, and then purposely focus on the things that we are called to think about. So that is our Theology Thursday for today. Just ways that you can disciple your kids and have them purposely be changing their thought patterns in this time that feels a little unstable and a little scary, honestly. But again, we're not scaredy squirrels. We're sensible squirrels.
We're sensible squirrels.
So that's our advice for today. And tomorrow we're going to talk about a fun Friday, fun and Fellowship Friday activity that you can do with your kids. So we will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye.